When he killed himself, were you immediately in a depression, or did you see it? You were.
Yeah.
And did you say to yourself, that's it, it's the end of my career,
Yes.
I'm never going to go anywhere?
Yep.
Did you sit and meet with Chris, the other guy in Nirvana, and say, should we form a band together? I always thought it was, no, because that would have been weird.
Yep.
You two guys with some new frontman.
It was way too heavy. We've never talked about that, ever. It's been 20 years. We still haven't talked about it.
So when Kurt dies, what's your game plan? Or you don't have one? You start to drift?
Yeah, I just, you know, I mean, it's just...
Who tells you your lead singer's gone? I mean, how do you find that out?
I think maybe it was on the news or something weird. I don't know. I don't remember
Like
exactly.
the news,
like you didn't get a call. You just heard it.
I think it happened, and then it just all happened, like, and the phone's off the hook, and...
People are calling this and that.
Yeah.
And what do you do that day? You just go into shock. I mean, you can't
everybody
go back
got together. Everybody went over to Chris Novoselic's house and, you know...
Hung out. Because you were there comforting one another.
Yep. It was just such a weird time. And we were kids, you know. I was like 25 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was strange. And I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't listen to Nirvana. I couldn't listen. I'd turn on the radio and I'd hear like, all by myself. I start crying, you know. Like, it was terrible. Just sitting down at a drum set reminded me of Kurt. It reminded me of Nirvana, and it was just sad. So
was it all good with Kurt? I mean, were you on good terms?
Things got weird towards the end.
So did that make you feel even weirder about his death? Were you sort of estranged?
Yeah. I mean, everybody sort of was. I think at that point it had sort of split off, and it just got really weird. It was,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody really does, but it had gotten to the point where
he wasn't talking to you.
Well, they were just, you know, I don't do drugs.
Right.
I haven't done drugs since I was a kid.
Right.
20 years old, I think, is when I stopped. And so, you know, there were drugs around. And there was, like, the people who did the drugs, and then there were people that didn't do the drugs. And I didn't do the drugs. And so I was just out of that world, you know. And if you're in it, you're in it. If you're not, you're out.
So in the last couple of months, you hadn't even been in touch with Kurt.
No, we had.
Right.
And but
were you close to breaking up the band anyway? Do you think you guys would have broken up because Kurt was going his own way?
I think at that point it was important that we take a break. I think everybody felt that way. It was like time to take a break.